Hi, I'm Muzi. I'm an automation engineer, and today I wanted to talk about something that a lot of people probably don't take seriously, and it is the idea of having an abundance mentality. This is something that I learned too late. So, like, if you're someone like me who wants to get into automations, who wants to do it in a serious capacity, helping businesses solve real business problems, then this is definitely something that you should learn very, very early on. And it'll because abundance is just it'll define what opportunities you see, whether or not you even see opportunities in the first place, and how you act when opportunities come to you. um, this is something I understood too late, honestly, and I just wanted to tell you about my story. So basically, in the beginning of my journey, obviously I went through a whole lot of identity shifts, or in all this time I've went through whole lot of identity shifts. And if you want to understand what that means, I made a video about it. I think it's the previous video. But yeah, all those different identity shifts also shifted my abundance mentality as well. And I think only recently I've come to shift my abundance mentality yet again, which has shifted the opportunities that I see, and it has shifted how I act, and that has just been bringing more opportunities my way. I just wanted to go through some of those ideas with you, and yeah, let me just start. So, the first, I guess you can call it an axiom, is the fact that value is infinite when created, not extracted. So, what that means is, on the base level, we live in a universe that rewards action, but not just any action, creative action. So, what that means is that if there is a system, maybe there's a group of people, um, it would reward you to create some kind of valuable thing and then offer it to those people, instead of going to those people and then taking valuable things from them, right? Because that would deplete the total value in the system, right? Instead, what you should do is you to create something and then offer it, that's creating even more value in the system. That's how it works. Actually, the mere act of me creating content like this is a value creation uh, act. Um, and in this way, you don't compete for slices in this little pie that exists inside the value system that already exists. What you want to do is you want to build new pies. And this one act of building a new pie and then giving it to people is gonna create a new, so it's gonna, for one thing, it's gonna make sure that other people understand who you are and understand what you have to offer, but it's also going to help you position yourself better for any future, right? You'll be someone who is in a position of influence, someone who will be able to dictate change, someone who's going to be an authority in your field, whatever your field is going to be. Of course, this is just an arbitrary example where I'm talking about pies, but the idea is very simple. You don't have to extract value. You can just create it. You can just create new things, new products, new ideas. I'll give you my example again. I don't think I've ever seen anyone who is mixing automation and philosophy the way that I am. Um, Everyone is just talking about business, 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 chatbots, agents, whatever. Boring. I don't care about that because I understand that the one thing that really separates the best from the worst, and like what I've seen online, what I've seen inside myself, is mentality. And that's why I'm sharing these ideas, because like I went through all these different mentalities coming along, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to go through all these different mentalities as well, because everyone is going to be an automation specialist, an automation engineer one day. All we're waiting for is for AI and LLMs to just become that good at sort of implementing automations that anyone could just think up an automation and then have some system created and then manage that system. So we're all just going to be orchestrators of these automated systems. This is not even something I'm questioning, right? All it's going to take is just how much time. That's my question. How much time is it going to take? And how can I position myself to be in the best position to be an authority figure in the space where a lot of people not only want guidance on how automation works, but like what mentality to actually have when doing automations, right? This is me creating value out of nothing because I know who I am, I know what I'm come from. I know where I've come from, and I know exactly where I want to go to because I can envision a future where I'm valuable. Right. So basically, that is the first axiom. Right? There's infinite value in the universe as long as you create it. You don't have to extract. Right. When you're extracting value, it just depletes from the system, and everyone has less, and even you have less, and it's just way too much work. The second thing is that, and it actually relates to me as well, opportunity expands with action, right? Like as long as you take one action, it'll make it easier to take the next one, which is a very similar action, right? The more you move, the more doors appear. I'll give you an example from me. So in the beginning, we went through all these different identities, right? So I had the identity of the interested person, which is basically someone who's like a little bit curious, someone who consumes a ton of content but doesn't actually act on anything. Um, and this lasted for maybe like a few weeks, right? I was just, watching, reading, doing this, doing that. It wasn't until I watched like a one video where it was a guy going through a tutorial on make.com, and I was like, hey, I could like absolutely build this right now. Why don't I build this? And I literally paused the video right there, and I opened up a make.com account, and I just made a make.com account. That was how my journey started, and that was like almost a year ago. But like that basically shows you like that one action of me creating a make.com account uh, meant that I could finally start practicing automation. So from then on, I started doing one automation per day almost on make.com. That was until my make.com account ran out of credits, because like that's how it works. Like Make has this thing called credits where it's like every node you execute takes one credit away. It's so trash, but I mean, can't really blame make.com. It's like a very good product, but that kind of led me towards seeking new uh, avenues where I ended up stumbling onto N8N, which I ended up self-hosting and then learning the entire thing and then realizing the potential, and then I just went all in after that. But yeah, like all of those actions, just at the end of the day, they ended up reinforcing my identity, this new identity that I was building. I went from someone who was just interested to someone who was a learner. I went from a learner to someone who was a worker. I went from a worker to someone who was a builder. And I'm going to be going from a builder to someone who's an architect, someone who builds systems that take care of themselves. But that's not important, right? If you want to understand what that is, you can just watch the previous video. But anyway, um, the idea is very simple, right? As long as you take action in line with an identity, you can't help but become that person. And this sounds like some philosophical, metaphysical mumbo jumbo, but it genuinely makes sense no matter how you think of it. I don't know if you guys have read Psycho Cybernetics. It's basically like you have an internal engine that's constantly calibrating based on the actions you take and the results you get from those actions. Um, if it thinks that the action you took was good for you, or it feels like it was good for you, right? Because that's basically the main thing, feelings. If it feels that the actions you're taking are good for you, it will try to get you to do more of those actions. And most people call this the unconscious mind, right? That's what it is. It's making you act in certain ways unconsciously, in ways that you don't even understand, right? Most people make decisions that they just don't understand where they come from. But then when they look back at those decisions, then they realize, damn, there was actually a pattern here. And I could give you like another example, but I'll give it to you very soon. So the third axiom that you actually need to think of is the fact that when others are winning, it doesn't mean you're losing. I remember when I was starting out, I entered Liam Audley's AI community, and back then there was like 40,000 of us. I was like 42,000 something. Right now it's like 200K ish, and that was just one of the communities because there's a bunch of other ones with like 100K, whatever. But I was really, really fucking early, is what I'm trying to say. And I would see like in this win section, I would see like a bunch of people who were earning 10K, and I was like, oh my god, how the hell can I do that? How the hell can I do that? The worst thing, my identity back then, which was the identity of a learner, it was unconsciously holding me back, right? As much as I was asking myself, how the hell do I do that? I never actually took action in line with that identity of the type of person who would actually get those results. What I would do was just continue learning because I wasn't sure of myself. I just wasn't sure that I could actually get those results for clients. I wasn't sure that I deserved that. But back to the idea, right? Seeing all those people win, I ended up thinking like back then because I was seeing 40,000 people in this group. All of them were like trying to become automation specialists. I don't like the word specialists. That's why I call myself an engineer. But others were like winning, and I thought, damn, I'm running out of time. I'm losing. I'm losing. Losing. But like you don't have to think that way because at the end of the day, the universe rewards creation. It rewards action. I should have just taken action, and if there was an opportunity, I should have collaborated with these people more than anything, right? Collaboration multiplies outcomes. So think about that example I gave you with the pie before. Uh, Instead of just me making that pie, I could have gotten someone else, and then we could have made more pies. That's creating more value in the system. You understand? Right. When we compare ourselves to others, it shrinks the pie. And if you really think about it, it kind of makes sense as well. Like, there's a reason why people say comparison is the thief of time. It's because you're genuinely wasting time. You are at the best situation you could be in right now. Because every moment before this was leading up to this moment right now. And this moment right now is the most important moment of your life, right? You could take any action right now, any fucking action, and like it'll lead you towards the best version of yourself that you could possibly be, is what I'm saying. Um, which leads me to my next point because people don't understand this. People look at themselves and then they, okay, if we get rid of this concept of just like taking action, some people just don't take action, but they don't understand that in and of itself is an action, right? When like whether you take action or you don't take action, you're still taking action. Right? The only thing you can optimize for is whether you're taking the right action. And that's exactly the thing. It's like most people are so okay with wasting their time when literally their time and their energy is all they have. That's the fourth thing you need to think about. Time is leverage. It's not a currency. Like a lot of people say, time is money. They're wrong, right? Time is not money. Time is not money because time and energy are the only two things you keep losing your entire life. You might be born and like you might be a baby. You might think, oh, I have all this time, but you could die any day. Even worse, due to entropy, due to how your body works, you're constantly losing energy. Like your cells are literally doing cellular respiration, and you're constantly just losing energy from your body. So when people think, oh yeah, like when people, because like I used to be someone who was like this, right? I would spend hours every day, uh, basically just working and working and working and working. And I thought that was like the thing that everyone should be doing. Like I was really proud of myself for doing this. And then, funnily enough, I compared myself to other people, which is like exactly the thing you shouldn't do. But when I compared myself to other people, I realized that why the hell am I working 16 hours and not really creating that much of an impact when other people could work for a fraction of the time and create 100 times impact? And it's just because I didn't have the right systems. Um, I was investing my time into little things when I could be investing my time into scalable things, scalable systems that actually compounded my effort, right? Instead of trading my time for money, I should have been trading my time for something else. This is a concept that I've only understood recently, but this actually it relates so well to abundance. Like a lot of people don't think of these types of things, but like when you really start looking at people with an abundance mentality, you start understanding why they act the way they do. Like I remember when I was growing up and like I would see all these rich kids spending hundreds of thousands on like in these parties. And to an extent, I still see those types of videos on my YouTube all the time, and I watch them all the time. But I used to judge those kids. Like I used to be like, what the hell? Why is he spending all that cash in that party in that one night? He's spending on a few bottles, and like he's just gonna like do that and then just move on with his life. Why? And it's because they are optimizing their life around this concept of time and energy, right? Rich people hire people so that they could save time. They hire cooks, they hire people to clean for them, they hire people to take them from place to place. They're okay with spending money because they understand that time is the only resource that's truly worth saving. Time is a million times more important than money. Actually, it's like infinitely more important than money. At the end of the day, money is something that just gets created when debt is created in the system. It's not important. It's just like a promise that the system makes, that someone makes to the system to repay, and then the system is like, okay, since you're going to repay, we might as well take this as money. That's how the credit system works. Money is fake. It's fake, not worth thinking about. But time is so important. That's why they're willing to spend money to gain more time. They're willing to spend more money to gain more energy as well. And you will see this because they eat healthy, right? They eat healthy. They have experiences that make them happy. Like they will go to islands, even if it's for like 2 days or whatever. They'll just go there and spend time away from people because it just makes them feel good. They understand that all of like your time and your energy, as long as you have them, you'll have a really good life, and they optimize their lives around that. And they also understand that like the one thing that a lot of people trade for, which is time and energy, they don't trade those. Instead, they trade everything else because everything else is just abundant. Even time and energy is abundant, but only if you optimize your life around them, only if you take the right action. And at the end of the day, there's also, uh, I think, a huge thing that people don't really think about, and I definitely didn't think about. It was just how much self-worth has to do with your ability or inability to have some kind of abundance mentality. Um, I know for a fact that when I was starting out, like I was pretty fucking broke. And when I got my first client, I was like really, really stressed out like all the time. I was relatively happy, but really, really fucking stressed out. I was working 16-hour days. As much as happy as I was, like getting that first client, I also didn't want to lose them. So when I did lose them, I became even more stressed out. Ended up self-sabotaging, and that was just because my self-worth was linked to my ability to get clients, and that type of thing is like losing something that was really important to my identity at the time. It was really, really, really bad for me. And after all this time, after like gaining and losing a bunch of clients or whatever, honestly, I try not to even think about it, because I understand that, yeah, it just goes, it just flows. It is what it is now. But yeah, one thing I've learned to realize, one thing I've learned to ingrain in myself is that people attract what they think they deserve. Um, and this relates to like like you could make the analogy in terms of relationships as well. You like everything is predicated on your standards, and you will attract and keep whatever you are willing to tolerate. In other people, in yourself as well. Like if you're okay with yourself being a fat person, then you can just be a fat person and like not live a healthy life. If you're okay with yourself, hanging around people who smoke, people who drink, whatever, you could do that. Everything is predicated by standards, but at the end of the day, understand that action or inaction will always be action. You're always taking action, and understand that your environment also affects you. Um, and all of that is predicated on your self-worth, on your self-identity, and all of that is feeding in to this identity you have, and it'll feed into your abundance mentality as well. um, you attract what you deserve, not what you chase, right? The more you chase, the less you probably get something. Even in people, it's like when you chase that girl, she kind of knows that you probably don't deserve her, because like the person who deserves her is the one who's not chasing, because he already has her. Just think about it. Like, why would you chase something you're so sure of, you're so sure you already have? There's no need to do that. And Yeah, the universe kind of works on action, but when you take certain actions, the universe can't help but bring you exactly what you want. And again, like if you're an automation engineer, you're probably a logical thinker. So you're listening to this and you're like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Like this is like way too metaphysical. This is exactly what I mean. If when you start looking at the world in terms of these interesting concepts, you start seeing parallels. Um, if you want to have really good results when it comes to automation, when it comes to personal growth, like because I really like, I feel like this is the most important thing um, between like people who actually get shit done and people who just stagnate and do nothing. Um, it's all about identity. Every game is an identity game. Literally everything hinges on your self concept. You can never go beyond your self concept, and that's exactly the thing. Is like when I was young, I remember I used to ask my mom for like stuff, and I think there was a time where it's like she would just wave me off and be like, yeah, we don't have money or whatever, and I kind of got used to that. I think I grew up like relatively poor as well. I was in the feeding scheme back in my old primary school, but yeah, I ended up becoming like a kid who never asked for anything. And now, like as an adult, I still have that tendency. Like I still walk into a store and like never really understand or know what I want. It's kind of fucked up, but yeah, it's all just because of the story that I was told when I was young, and I kind of ended up telling myself again and again over time. It's just like, yeah, we don't have money. Should we be spending this money? Should we be doing this? Should we be doing that? At the end of the day, any mental model that you view the world through is nothing more than a story. Scarcity is a story, right? There are no limitations in life other than the ones you put on yourself. And, you know, you inherit these limitations from other people that you somehow take seriously. You inherit these people from your experiences that you somehow feel are true, which is so interesting. Like when you really think about it, because at the end of the day, if it's nothing more than a story, then you can rewrite the story. Um, you know, if that story is making you self-sabotage, like if you literally find yourself in an opportunity and the opportunity is staring you right in the face and you still fuck it up because you're like, you somehow get this scarcity mentality that makes you overthink and it makes you act in a way that fucks everything up because you're acting too needy, you're acting, like a baby or whatever, yeah, way too emotional. You need to stop, right? Understand that scarcity is nothing more than a story you've been telling yourself your entire life, and just move beyond it. Understand that there's so much in the universe. Even if you don't get that client, you can still get more because a lot more people are also building businesses. A lot more people still need you to help them, right? We're heading into this age of digital transformation. Like we're already in it. Like literally, I was working with like a government agency that was doing digital transformation for government. That government is still doing, like they're still using technology from a few years back. You're really really fucking early and your skills are actually really really important. uh, Stop underestimating yourself, stop undervaluing yourself, right? The only scarce thing is you. Stop limiting yourself based on other people's beliefs, and just start seeking the truth, start seeking what is objectively true. The objective truth is the fact that yes, there's infinite value in the universe. Yes, you can create value only if you take the right actions. Um, and one of probably the most useful actions you can take is to be generous in everything you do. This is just training yourself, making yourself understand that there's infinite value and whatever you give out, you can always just get it back in another way. I'll explain it to you. So when I was starting out, I one thing I would do is like I would, ask people, hey, do you need this? Hey, do you need that? But nothing ever landed, and I like this kind of messed me up for a while. It just made me lose a bit of confidence in myself. I think it wasn't until I was watching, was it Alex Ramosi, who kind of convinced me that you should, like, if you're building a business, you should probably be making more content. I was like, fuck it. You know what? Let me just make more content. And then I think Nick Sarayev also kind of like really, really hinted at this as well because he was doing daily updates back then. I think he was like just starting them, the daily updates. I was really fucking early, but yeah. Um, so like having seen those two people who were like like one of my idols, I feel like they should probably be your idols as well. Uh, they kind of inspired me to start making content, so I would release content every day, just like them. Well, Alex wasn't releasing every day, but yeah. And then it was only after me doing that, so I was releasing content and I was also sharing it on school as well, and on X as well. But yeah, it was only after weeks of me doing that that I finally got traction, that I finally got enough proof that I actually knew what I was doing. And most of it was just internal as well, right? The mere act of me sitting in front of a camera and talking about these things, it kind of also tells me that I'm valuable because only valuable people have value to offer. Right? It makes total sense when you really think about it. Like it sounds like a no-brainer. And like it's so stupid, but like it's genuinely the case. Only a valuable person can share value with others. This is the definition of generosity. I'm just literally opening up my fucking chest and just giving you everything. Um, and as much as I was doing it back then for business strategy purposes, I'm doing it right now for abundance mentality strategy purposes. I understand that when I give value freely, not only do I build trust with the people I want to build trust with, but I also gain a reputation for being someone who's like truthful, honest, and genuinely free about sharing everything that happens in his life. And as much as this might seem like a really bad thing, because you're practically sharing everything, I think I've heard this from Hormozy. It actually is a good thing because it makes people think to themselves like, damn, if he's sharing this much, imagine everything he's not sharing. Imagine everything that he still has to offer that he's keeping to himself when literally I feel like I'm not keeping anything to myself, which is like the funny thing as well, because at the end of the day, me sharing everything is literally creating this gravitational pull where it's bringing opportunities to me. Like almost all my lead flows come from YouTube, um, and this brings me to my last point. At the end of the day, in a universe that is run by action, by coherent action, right? If you are you have to understand what identity you want to embody, and then you want to take the best action that best embodies that identity. If you live in a universe like that where the best action will always reflect back to you, it will create some kind of gravitational pull that will pull opportunities that are in line with that identity, then you shouldn't be waiting for permission, right? You shouldn't be waiting for resources to come to you before you take action, or you shouldn't be waiting to get lucky. Right? You are the source of your entire experience. At the end of the day, I'll give you the example of luck, like in terms of luck. So if you imagine a universe where it was like we define someone as lucky if they are able to get themselves in situations where they get shat on by a bird. Uh, Most people just live their lives hoping that one day a bird will shit on them. But a lucky person would study birds, would understand where birds normally hang out, and then they'd go to that location and they'd spend a lot of time there. And then, funny enough, when birds would shit on them, everyone would see that and go, oh my god, he's so lucky. No, he's not lucky, he just understands the rules. He understands that in a universe ruled by action, if you want a certain outcome, you have to take action in line with that outcome. Um, you have to generate that momentum from within. You are the source from which everything will come to. Um, you just have to be the type of automation engineer that you know you can be. And that automation engineer takes certain actions that like you know what actions those are. You know the type of mentality you should be having. Like, yes, you can be in a contact with one lead in your DMs, and things don't work out. What do? Just move on. That happens. I can count so many conversations I've had with people. You know, they might promise me that they might need me for something, and then they totally go, totally go ghost. I might do something for free with them just to get, just to get more work possibility, for the possibility of work, and then it go ghost. That's happened to me so many times that right now I almost expect it. I think the one thing that you should be optimized for, that you should be optimizing for, is having the mentality, two mentalities. Having the mentality that number one, you are valuable, and then the second one is that you know you know your shit. Um, yeah, and the best way to do that is to get involved in as many projects as you can, make content, of course, and just talk to as many people as you possibly can. Um, whichever stage, whichever identity you're embodying right now, be generous. Understand that the universe has infinite value, and understand that you are the most valuable thing in the universe anyway, because we all are the most valuable thing in the universe. We all are the universe because we're a part of the universe. Okay, let me not get too philosophical, but yeah, um, I that was just like really meaningful to me, and I hope you learned something, and I hope you walked away with something. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.